Learn how to create, sustain, and scale up your print-on-demand business with the latest tips, guides, and strategies to help you start selling and making money today. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show. And here's your host, Adam Schneider.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Sales on Demand Show. This is episode 41, and the title of today's show is called The 3 Phases of Christmas. So let's begin. Right now, it is Memorial Day, or Remembrance Day if you're Canadian. And if you are Canadian, then hopefully you found yourself out at a Remembrance Day service. You know, even if you don't support the wars, at least we should be supporting the people who went out and, fought in them. My grandfather, not my actual grandfather, but kind of a step-grandfather, he got shot down in a Lancaster bomber over France. He was captured. He escaped. It was a crazy story. And now he's dead, and his story only lives on through me. And, let's be honest, those kids back then, they just thought they were doing something good. Never mind that the politicians were starting these terrible wars and sending kids to fight. The kids who went to fight were, they believed they were doing something good, and we should honor the fact that they died doing that. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get into Christmas. So it is the last of the slow times. So, it's a holiday weekend, and pretty much every holiday weekend that you're going to see is going to be kind of slow. And this is the last one before the Thanksgiving Day weekend, and of course, we all know Thanksgiving is going to be Black Friday, I think. I'm not entirely sure because we celebrated Thanksgiving here in Canada like a month ago, and the rest of you are still waiting for it. So I'm not sure exactly when you guys do Thanksgiving, but I'm sure it's going to be great whenever it happens for you. It's weird that it's so close to Christmas. Also in Canada, we've had almost a month and a half, at least where I am, we've had a month and a half of winter. This actually is, it just irritates me a little bit, but I've kind of made peace with it because I don't have to work outside as much as I used to. And I'm kind of just used to the cold by now. But I went tobogganing today for the 3rd time, and it's only November the 11th. So I'm sure I'm going to have lots of winter sports happening this winter, and that's just the way it is. But I do miss summer because, there's nothing better than sitting out on your deck and barbecuing some hamburgers or something like that, looking at the grass growing, the trees with leaves on them and stuff like that. I don't know. I miss that. We only got like 2 months of that this year. It wasn't fair. So anyway, let's get on to the 3 phases of Christmas, like I told you. So obviously, we are well into quarter 4, and oddly enough, we still haven't hit the massive spike that I told you was coming. And that's because every single year is different, and buyer intent changes from year to year. This is not the kind of business that you would get into if you want some reliable income, because there's no such thing as reliable income in this business. You might be able to get something more reliable if you're doing like Facebook ads or something like that, because you're spending kind of a predetermined amount of money on advertising, and you get, you get sales based on how much money you spend, not on how many people are shopping. But if you're like me and you're putting all your stuff on Amazon and Etsy, you're just waiting for the people to come, and they are coming. It is a little bit slower this year, and honestly, I don't know why. Some people have speculated that it's a recession, but to be honest with you, I don't know about that, because the signs of a recession just aren't there unless they're being suppressed by the media, or they just aren't being noticed yet by economists. So I don't know. Theoretically, shoppers should have been shopping about 2 weeks now. Last year, I was doing sales like crazy by this time. And so far, I haven't been keeping up with where I was last year. But I'm not concerned about that because I know that it's going to be a good year. It is going to be a good year. And if you haven't gotten yourself onto Etsy or Amazon, you still have a little bit of time. But just a little bit of time, because what's happening right now is what I call, all right, so the 3 phases of Christmas, and we're in phase 1. This is what I call the pregame show. You could also call this window shopping time. So basically what's going on right now that Memorial Day / Remembrance Day is over, people are starting to think Christmas. They're like thinking gifts, and the people who are sort of more diligent are going out and they're looking for gift ideas for their loved ones. So they're going to be visiting detail pages and visiting listings and sort of marking those on their wish list as potential future things to buy. So if you've been following the advice that I'm giving you and you've been listing these items, then people are going to be visiting those items and clicking favorite or put on my wish list if it's on Amazon or on Etsy. It's called favorites. So on Amazon, we don't get to see the wish lists. People could have all these things in the wish list and you would never know. On Etsy will tell you that so-and-so added your product to their favorites. And so I'm scrolling through and I can see. It actually is kind of nice because it gives you an idea of how much actual traffic is out there and which items seem to be getting the most attention. And that helps you if you're looking to create new items and you're like, man, this particular item is getting a lot of favorites and I could make another item that's like that. Well, now's the time to do that. So let's say you've got a mug that's for your husband or for someone's husband, and you're noticing that it's getting favorites. Well, go and make the same thing for a wife, or make it for a girlfriend, or for your mom, or for someone else. I mean, don't just acknowledge the fact that it's being favorited. Do something about that, because that's going to make you the most money, is paying attention to these signals that the market is giving you. So the pregame show is going on right now. You're going to see all these favorites. You're going to see lots of visits to your listings on Amazon, but you're not going to have a whole bunch of sales, because this is basically people are still not ready to buy yet, but they're shopping around. So on Etsy, you're not going to see every favorite turn into a sale. That is just a fact. That's how it works. But you're going to see some of them turn into sales. Now, some people think, well, how can I turn a favorite into a sale? Well, to be honest with you, you don't. The fact that somebody favorited your item, I mean, it's a cool indication, but generally speaking, messaging that person and saying, hey, I noticed you favorited this item. Would you like 10% off? That's a no-go. Etsy doesn't want you doing that, because that person might just be going through and window shopping, and people don't really like being contacted by sellers, and most people don't know that the sellers can see that, so it's kind of disconcerting if you go and contact these people. Just let people shop, let people window shop, spend your time creating new listings. You should be doing 2 to 3 to 5 a day. When I say 2 to 3 to 5, I mean, if you've got nothing else to do in your life, 5. If you've got other things that you're doing, you're working, you've part-time work, full-time work, whatever it is, then do just 2. But you should be creating new listings every single day. And even if you don't think that they're going to sell, creating listings actually helps your other listings rank better on Etsy. One of the things that Etsy gives more attention to are sellers that are constantly doing things. So sellers that are messing around with their tags or renewing listings or something like that, it gets you a little bit more ranking in the search. So it's just something to think about. And that steady flow of extra listings just helps all of your other listings rank up. Plus, getting those items listed now means they could sell within a couple weeks here. Because when we get to phase 2, Then it really gets crazy. And phase 2 is what I call the good times. And this is, the last week of November and the first 2 weeks of December is what I call the good times. So about till December 14th, you're going to just see sale after sale, and your phone's going to be chirping. Your iPad's going to be flying off the table. Ghosts are going to be opening and closing your closet. Although if you have that going on, you might have something else going on. And you're just going to see sales. If you're new at this, you might see like 1 or 2 sales a day. If you have no listings, you won't see any sales because nobody's going to buy something that you're not offering for sale. So generally speaking, I'd say, make sure you get to at least 100 listings. And if you don't see a sale, well, keep adding another 100. Just keep going until you get the sale, right? I don't know what to tell you. If you're not getting any sales and you're right in the middle of the good times, it just means that you're not doing your research very well. Your titles probably suck. Your items are too generic. There's 100 different things that could be wrong. But if you're following the advice that I give you, and you're pretty much going to see a sale or two at least. And you know what? I have had people that are listening to the podcast. They message me all the time and say, I just got my first sale. And then someone else is getting like 7 or 8 sales a day. And I'm like, wow, that's actually really good. If you've only been selling for a couple months and you're already doing 7 or 8 sales a day, that is quite good. And you should be proud of being able to do that. So the good times are the busy times. And you're going to get sales. You're probably going to get messages from people, especially on Etsy. They're going to be like, hey, can you create an item for this? Can you do this? So I'll share with you a little bit about what I'm willing to do and what I don't do. So I get these messages fairly frequently, and I'm expecting to get plenty more of them this Christmas season. I got tons of them last year. So you get people who, basically you get kind of 2 messages. One is a person who says, I like this design. Can you change it a little bit and make it say this, or add this element to it, or whatever. Now that is easy to do, and I'm always happy to do it. And sometimes I'll just create a new item and just list it. And you know what? Sometimes I have found my best sellers doing that. And I'm always willing to do it if it's not too demanding. But then sometimes people, they want you to create some brand new idea and list that. So I had somebody recently ask me to make something, and it had like this trademarked image on it, and I was like, ugh, I don't think I can do that. Now, if I thought the image wasn't trademarked, it was a Star Wars thing, so it is 100% trademarked, and there's no way that I would get away with it. I might get away with it for a little while, but you won't get away with it forever. Putting trademarked items on print on demand might earn you some sales right off the bat, but it's a good way to get yourself suspended over time. It's just not something you should do. You can be sued for it. It is illegal to do it. It's not your property. So, but yeah, people notice that it sells really well. I know some people put those, if you know the show Friends, they'll use the letters, and they'll spell out different kinds of words with the letters. Whoever owns the show Friends owns the trademark to that font, and they will come after you, and they'll shut your listing down. So just stay away from that. Yes, they sell really well, but it is not your property. Anyway, so what I am willing to do is if somebody has a fresh idea, it's not trademarked, and I'm like, you know what? I think I could offer this as a new item. I will create that item fresh for them, but then I'll list it as an item generally. And I've actually found some of my best-selling items doing that. But it has to be something that I can sell to other people as well. It can't be like, oh, hey, can you completely change this and put this picture on there? I might do that if it doesn't take too much work. Generally speaking, if it's going to take me more than 10 minutes to do it, I'm just not going to do it. Because when it gets to the busy times, I'm just not going to have time to do that. if I got to spend 10 minutes on every single order, it's going to really slow me down because sometimes I'm getting like 20 orders in a day. So if I'm spending 10 minutes to fill each one and I'm going to work for 10 hours, that basically doesn't leave me any time to do anything else, and that's irritating. So, last year I pretty much followed through with about 80% of the messages, and some people will actually message you back and be like, "Hey, can you actually do this for me?" And they'll keep pestering you until you actually do it. So those are the people that, you're going to make almost a guaranteed sale, but even then it's like, well, is it worth it? So you got to balance your time with the result that you're getting for it. But the good times are good times indeed, because, you're going to get sales. Your phone's going to be like ding, 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 ka-ching, ka-ching, and you're going to start to love that sound of the cash register. And if you're like some of the top sellers, you're going to learn to hate that sound because it means, yet another sale that you got to go out and manually create. And this is why I don't like doing customized products on Etsy, because each one of them requires you to manually do the image and download it, and then order the item for the person, follow up. It can be a ton of work, but you'll make money. And if you're charging $20 per item, and if it's a customized item that you're putting someone's name on it, then I always say, add another couple bucks for your time, right? Charge $20 for the print-on-demand items that you've already designed, but don't undercut yourself by not charging more for the personalized designs, because those ones take more time, and you should always charge for your time. So anyways, so the good times are between, the last week of November, first 2 weeks of December, and then we get into the hangover. And this is the phase where it's like, okay, people aren't going to be, you're still going to get orders, but they do slow down a fair bit. It cuts itself in about half. But you're going to get the question from 100 people, can I get this by Christmas? And after December 14th, I tell people, no, it will not arrive there by Christmas. Even before then, I would say December 10th. That's my personal deadline. So if somebody asks me on December 10th, will this arrive on time? Maybe. December 11th? No, probably not. Because it probably won't. There's 12 times the volume of packages crossing the country during Christmas. And if you think that there's 12 times as many people delivering those packages, well, you just don't know how the postal service works. It's the same number of people delivering 12 times as many packages. So, of course, it slows things down. Like, maybe they add a few more people here and there, but they're not, these people are working like day and night to try and get your packages out on time. So there's going to be missed deliveries. There's going to be wrong deliveries. You're going to get people who get the wrong item. So you're probably going to have 3 or 4 of those. And all you do is say, hey, you know what? We'll get you the right item. So basically, the key to getting through this is managing customer expectations. Do not promise something that you can't deliver. And what I always tell people is all of these items are handmade. They're custom made individually. So it takes time, and it's going to be slow, but it's being custom made for you, special person. You are a shining star, and I'm making a coffee mug just for you. In fact, the elves are making it right now. But it's going to take some time for it to get there. Now, I'm not quite as condescending when I talk to people, but I do build the expectation that it's going to take time. And I'm honest with people. If I don't think it's going to get there in time, I tell them I don't think it's going to get there in time. If I think there's a chance, I say I think there's a chance, but I can't promise it. And you know what? People are okay with that. I find that people are generally okay if you're just really honest. Sure, you can get a few extra sales if you lie to people, but guess what's going to happen when they don't get their item in time? They're going to be ticked off at you and they're going to send you nasty messages and demand a refund, it's just not worth it. Like, don't put yourself in that position where you're making promises just because you're trying to make a few extra sales, particularly on Amazon. So I'm going to tell you, any of you sellers on Amazon, what you need to do right now is go through your listings and increase your handling time to 10 or 14 days, okay? 10 to 14 days, minimum 10. I've got mine at 10 and some at 14, and I'm pretty sure there's some out there that are at 5. I'm going to have to update that, and there's a way to do it that I can't remember how to do it. It's a technically complex way. It basically involves downloading an inventory file. But when you've got 5,000 listings like I do, well, I mean, you have to do it in bulk. You can't just go one by one because it takes too long. So increase your handling time. I mean, what's going to happen is basically, if you don't do that, you're going to end up having late shipments. And late shipments are not good. Late shipments can get you suspended off Amazon, and you do not want that. So do not skip this step. Go onto Amazon and increase your handling time. Your shipping time's probably fine. 6 to 8 days is what I put on my listings for shipping time. That's the time it takes from, the item is in the package and it's in the mail. And it takes 6 to 8 days to get there and whatever. Amazon's not really going to penalize you if it takes a couple of extra days. Sometimes you might find the valid tracking thing giving you a hard time, but that's not really a big deal. And there's not much you can do about that. It's the handling time that gets people in big trouble. And Amazon does not like you having a late shipping rate of more than 4%. And if you don't have very many sales on your account, you can hit that 4% with one sale. One item shipped late can get you at like 20%. So do not skip that step. Increase your handling time. On Etsy, you get a little bit of grace, but you still shouldn't be putting a handling time of less than, I put 1 to 2 weeks during the good times. And that is about how long it's going to take for the suppliers to print and ship the items. And I know that customers, they want to get things fast. This is why I do FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, and that's why it's my biggest seller. And to be honest with you, I've put most of my time and effort into FBA because I want to capture those people who want their item fast. So I'm paying for it ahead of time, and I'm hoping that they're going to buy it. And I believe they will. It's why I have 1,600 units sitting at Amazon warehouses all over the country. And I'm hopefully going to sell all of them. Probably not all of them, but most of them. And that'll get me pretty much to my $100,000 in sales this year. So the Hangover, what do I say about the Hangover, except that it really is a hangover? On Etsy, basically, you're going to have people saying, where's my item? Where's my item? I can't track my item. How do I track my item? And that's because Etsy does not help their customers track items very well. And it's irritating, but it is a fact. It is a fact of life that Etsy, they have this little widget, and supposedly the widget, which is a software program, it pulls the tracking number and tracks the item for the customer. It never works, ever. It never, ever works, and it's irritating. And of all the things that I wanted Etsy to fix, that's the one thing I wanted them to fix. I didn't care that they changed the way the stats look. They weren't broken before. They were working fine, but they changed it because Etsy's got to change things. And then they combined Etsy promoted listings with Google Shopping, which is something that nobody asked for, but they did that. And the one thing that I wanted them to fix, they didn't fix it, which is to fix the tracking widget so that it actually tracks the package. But they didn't do that. So you're going to get messages from people, and this is what I tell them. Copy and paste the tracking number into Google search. You'll get the link instantly. It's very easy to do. I put it as a message every time the email goes out to tell the customer that their item is shipped. That's a message I put in there. Make sure you put that as a custom message in there, because you can put a message in there that gets sent out to every customer, and that's what I say. Because every single person asks. And if you don't pre-warn them, then you're just going to get billions of messages that you don't need. So, I believe you can actually add a snippet to your Etsy store that you can just click on and send that as sort of a boilerplate message if somebody's asking about their shipping. But if I have time, I will just do it for the customer. It takes me like 10 seconds. I copy and paste it. I can do it from my phone. So it's pretty simple. And you know what? People like that you're responding to them directly. They do. Etsy customers, they like the personal service. So for me, the fact that I respond right away, people appreciate that. It helps prevent problems down the road. But you're going to get so many messages about that. And then you're going to get messages about, hey, can I get this by Christmas? And you're going to have to tell them no, because it's not going to get there by Christmas. And that's why I call this the hangover, because you're not getting as many sales as you did during the good times, but you are still getting way more messages, and you'll get them all the way up until Christmas, to be honest with you. Last year, I did have a few Amazon customers message me, mostly about customized products, because I do personalized Amazon products, and you just can't do that with fulfillment by Amazon, because each one is handmade with, a special design on it or a name or something like that. So they have to be print on demand. So there was one customer who was just so irritating. They were so stupid. And I'm not saying that to I don't call people stupid, frivolously. This person really was stupid. And they were also mean. So I don't feel bad calling them stupid, because they were also mean. I mean, if somebody's stupid and they don't know, well, that's fine. I'll help educate you. But when I educated this person, they just refused to be educated. So basically what happened is that it got sent to a different address. They didn't pick it up, and it got destroyed for some reason. And I was like, what? What kind of a stupid post office just destroys something that got sent to the wrong person? So I was like, you know what, fine. I will send another one at my expense. And I did. And I even paid extra for like super fast shipping, and I used Printful. And they're pretty fast. That's all I use Printful for, though, is like those last minute orders that I really want to get there on time. So I used Printful, and it didn't get there by Christmas Day. And this lady messaged me on Christmas morning saying that I ruined her Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, are you serious? You're messaging me on Christmas morning about this? You are a terrible human being. I didn't say that, but I basically was thinking it. And I was like, I'm sorry it didn't get there. It'll probably get there late. She left a 1-star review. That's fine. You know what? You want to be like that? Fine. But to be honest with you, that was the only one, so it wasn't that bad. I know other people had it much, 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 much worse. So if I get one angry customer, I can handle angry people. It's kind of what I do for a living. So, all right, guys, that is it. The 3 phases of Christmas. So that's what you should expect. I mean, I have been very, very systematically giving you a game plan to go out there and have success this year. If you don't follow the game plan, man, it's just your fault. But you can't say that somebody isn't trying to mentor you. If you guys would like to join me in a mentorship program with training videos and everything, and an entire team of like 4,000 people that are there to help support you, join me in the low-hanging system. It is the way that I got started selling print on demand. It's a great program. It costs money. If you're not willing to spend money to create a business where, I mean, I've told you, I'm on track to make $100,000 in sales this year. I spent $300 on this program when it first came out. That's like less than 1%. It's like a 0.3% of my total sales this year. And I did $53,000 last year. So, I mean, I have made so much money for my $300 investment. It's not even funny. And I know that rhymes. So anyway, click the link in the description if you'd like to join me. It's not too late. And you know what? If you decide not to for this Christmas and you want to get started in January, that's fine too. All right, guys, take care. See you next week. Cheers.